Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is John. We're up for video number 2 of The Secret. We're going to go back over some stuff on San Francisco. I want to thank everyone that's commented so far. I was shocked by the response. I appreciate everyone's interaction on that. That's great. I also wanted to thank Snake Eyes Jay. He messaged back on that about the San Francisco hunt. Had some different thoughts on it. Maybe that the cask is located at Fort Mason. I did some more research over the week. Got some different discoveries that I think are going to be pretty neat. I was shocked while Clarissa and Taylor were filming a video, and I was sitting here going, oh, the whole time I made a couple of discoveries. So I'm actually pretty excited about this. I'm looking forward to a trip to San Francisco. So thanks to Snake Eyes Jay again for pointing me in the direction of Fort Mason. I think you're on to something there. So let's get started. We're going to start back over with the verse at Stonewall's door. So that's a pretty obvious clue, I think, for the area near Fort Mason is also Fisherman's Wharf and all the famous piers in San Francisco, the waterfront there, and there is a structure that I thought matched up to this pretty neatly. It's at Stonewall's door, so we're going to get zoomed in here on a street view real quick if this thing's going to cooperate with me today, and I think it will. Here we go. So this is where I believe it starts, and I'm going to bring up the photograph here. I found some high-resolution pictures of the painting. What we've got here is, if you'll notice, her fingers are pointing at the bottom of 4 in the squares on this sleeve, and the bottom of 3 in the squares of this sleeve. Now, as we discussed last week, the painting is flipped, but based on some other information that I've come across, I believe only the top portion of the painting is flipped. So let's proceed on that premise and kind of go from there. And so this 4 and this 3 gives me thoughts that this could be Pier 43. And interestingly enough, on Pier 43 is this structure. That looks like a Stonewall's door. The next line is the air smells sweet. Well, ocean air is got a pleasant smell. It may not be sweet like candy or sugar or anything else, but it is a sweet aroma when you can smell the salt water, when you can smell the breezes, the sea breezes and things like that. So that tied in pretty well for me. Then the next one is Not Far Away, High Poster 3. Now that was a weird one there for a little bit, and I thought about it, and I was just pursuing my Google Earth of the area around the docks here, and I came upon something else. Let me get zoomed out here. And all of these clues and the final location for this solve are all within about a mile of this starting point. So this is completely feasible in my mind that this could be somewhere where Bernard Price was, and use this as a starting point and navigate around this local area to put this cask. So right down here on the pier is this impressive looking ship, and that's not a picture of it, but this is a picture of it. That's not a very good view of what I want to see. So the next verse is Not Far Away, high posts are 3. 1, 2, 3, the masts on this ship. Now, this is, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, this is the Balclutha. It's an old ship that made several passages in the 1900s around the Cape of, or in the 1800s around the Cape of Africa, the 19th century. Eventually ended up in the hands of the San Francisco Maritime Museum. And they've preserved this ship. The ship is currently located on the Hyde Street Pier. It was moved there in 1988, so I was like, oh crap, this is not going to work out on this solve. But originally, it was located on Pier 41, which is right here. This is Pier 41. And this is the stone wall door, our starting point. So that really ties that together for me. The next set of verses, education and justice for all to see. All right? So education and justice in this area, like it did in the Golden Gate Park, kind of threw me for a loop here. But I was looking at these images and I saw that rectangle that I was zoomed in on just a second ago. Let's see where it's at again. I just lost it.
It's behind that baseball field.
Oh, here it is right here. Okay. I saw this rectangle. As I zoomed in on this rectangle, I realized that it was a football field. And what is generally at a football field? A school. And this is the Galileo Academy. From here, you can also see Alcatraz. And Alcatraz indicates justice. Both are visible from this area. Sounds from the sky. There are several different thoughts about this. Airline traffic. There are some foghorns. If you think about ace and you relate it to blackjack, an ace can be 1 or 11. So let's use it as a 1. The Golden Gate Bridge and the highway that's on the Golden Gate Bridge, as you can see right here, see that 1 right there? That's Highway 1 and Highway 101. And where near Aces High, that would indicate to me that 1 is high. And where would 1 be high? It would be high on the bridge. From down here, this gives you a clue which way we're moving. So we're moving from our starting point down here in this area. We're going to be moving in this direction. Running north, but first across, right? In this area, Highway 1 is running north. And it's going across San Francisco Bay. It makes sense to me. In Jules' direction is an object of Twain's attention. There was a quote that was attributed to Mark Twain as the coldest winter I ever spent was a summer in San Francisco. So if you assume that Mark Twain said that, then the object of his attention would be the weather in San Francisco. So that's another clue because of the interesting weather dynamics that kind of ties in with the sound from the sky of the foghorns on the Golden Gate Bridge whenever the fogs sock in the harbor there. Giant pole and giant step. There is the San Francisco Light Tower that's out here on the edge that sits there, and it's a giant pole. But Coit Tower would be a giant pole that you could see. You can also see the Sutro Tower that we spoke about on the last video from this area as well. If the weather's clear, you can see Sutro Tower. It's almost 1,000 foot tall. Now, the giant step, if you move along here and keep proceeding towards Highway 1, which is down here, and I've rotated the map, you come across a giant set of steps. And it is at Fort Mason. Now, Fort Mason is an old fort in San Francisco, but something that caught me, and I've seen mention of this before, but I wanted to look at this little V shape right here. And what that resembles to me is the mouth of the dragon. Now, if you were to overlay, and I'm sorry I can't do that, I'm not that sophisticated yet, But if you were to overlay the dragon's head on this V section right here, his eye would end up right over in this area. His eye is going to put you over in this area. This is on Lower Fort Mason. There's a Lower Fort Mason and there's an Upper Fort Mason. In Fort Mason, there is a statue. It's called the Madonna. This statue was done during the Cold War. I wanted to point out a couple of things with this statue. First off, how the cape is, she's got a hood over her head. The shape of the painting, the lady in the painting, and how her hair is done kind of resembles the cape over the statue of the Madonna. The way her brows are arched. But you can look here at the arch, how it comes off of her nose and around the arch of her eye. And then look here, as it comes off her nose and around the arch of her eye. It's a similar arch. The nose is also similar in shape. Some people think maybe the mouth is similar shape, but I don't think so. I always thought, when I got to looking at this high resolution photograph, I thought her upper lip looks like a mustache. And I think that the Madonna statue is a place to look. Problem is, the Madonna statue was moved. It's still in Fort Mason, but originally it was located in Lower Fort Mason. And in the 90s, it was moved to Upper Fort Mason. But we'll go back to the clues, and we're looking for a giant step. And right here is a giant staircase that connects Lower Fort Mason to Upper Fort Mason, where the actual statue is now. Right? So I call that a giant step.
When did it get moved?
It got moved in the 90s. So about 15 years after the cask was buried.
Okay.
So the original place, the original location, I don't know for sure. That looks kind of like a neat place that it could have been, but I don't know where it was at. But it was down here somewhere. It was in the vicinity of these stairs. So I have to do some more research, find some pictures, see if I can find some pictures from the time frame that will show me where the statue was originally located. Oddly enough, I was playing around with Google Earth earlier today and saw a indication looking at some historical Google Earth pictures, and I saw a picture of the Madonna statue right here at the end of this long building. Now, if you go back street view right here, I don't know what this is really, but looking at this street view, it's something that was, there's the staircase that we were just at, right over here. You can see where the staircase goes up the hill to Upper Fort Mason. So we look over here, and there is a little fenced off, blocked off area with concrete on here. Doesn't have any big gates. So I would see something like this. I would think dumpster enclosure or something like that, right? And they have to have the wood slats. I don't know what's back there. It may have been the original location of the statue. May not have. Also, when the statue was moved, the cask could have been disturbed, depending on how far away from the statue it was buried. I would not think that it would have been buried right at the base of that statue, if this is indeed where it was. I think the hands of the children on the shoulders here, they're pointing straight down. So we have to find out where this statue originally was, and somebody knows. I'm still doing research on this to find out where it could have been. What that leads me to, that giant pole, I think, is that lighthouse out on the wharf. Giant step, I believe, is the staircase that goes from lower to upper to the place the cask is kept. And I believe that the painting tells us, by the way, her hair, everything here is highlighted in blue. So I think that means that it's important. And someone pointed out that The artist's signature was also done in blue. So it must be important. You can see this painting was done in 1981. So Bernard Price had already been there in 1981. The book didn't come out for another year or two after this. So this gives me some... This has been very interesting to me. There's a lot of things in here. I think you can pick this painting apart. Another thing I saw here that really drew me to this area as well. I've not ever seen it pointed out by anyone, but I'm sure someone has. There's a lot of smart people out there that look at this stuff. So let me spin this map around a little bit here. So if you orient this like this, you see this little, this is the aquatic park pier, and this is the shoreline right here, okay? Want to look at this dragon's claw right here. See how it forms a little C right here in the shape? That looks an awful lot like that shape as well. I think it's another clue to tie us to this area. We talked about the numbers in the hair. Here's 38 right here. You see the 3 right there. 3 and 8, it's laying on its side at an angle like this. Here's the 37 right here. The coordinates, if you look at a grid of this, 37 and 38 bracket San Francisco. Then you look here at these numbers, 122, 123. Those are the other lines. So you got your latitude and your longitude. The latitude is the 37 and the 38. The longitude is the 122 and the 123. These coordinates bracket San Francisco. As well as, you know, you can see the gate at our starting point was the picture of this wharf pier gate is an arch. The top of our painting picture is an arch. It's nice symmetry. It ties it together for me. So those were the things that I came up with on this latest deal. I really am going to finish this research. I think this really ties us to this location for the location of the cask and not Golden Gate Park. I think all the clues tie better here. I can make sense of them here more so than Golden Gate Park. The Stonewall's door, the air smells sweet, not far away, high poster 3. I mean, those lines right there has got me right there. This tells me this is the area I'm supposed to be in. I think I've got to figure out how to find where the statue originally was, and then we can go on an adventure on this one. I think it's ready to, if we can gain access to it. Like I say, who knows in the last 20 some odd years what's happened in that area in the way of construction. Is the cask still accessible? Was it disturbed when the statue was moved in the 90s? Has it been paved over? This may be one of those casks that has just been lost to time. I'll definitely provide an update on it. Let you know what I find about the statue's original location. I will continue to research this in the background, but we'll start up with our next videos next week. Again, Snake Eyes Jay, thank you so much for pointing me in the direction of this location. I agree with you. I believe this is the place where the cask is, or it was. If it was not disturbed, like I say, during the movement of the statue, if it wasn't accidentally, when that statue was moved, it could have accidentally been dug up at the same time. It could have been dug up, and somebody just said, oh, hey, look here, there's a clear plastic box with a little ceramic thing in it. That's pretty cool. And they wouldn't have known if they wouldn't have read the book. They wouldn't know what it was. And that's another thing that I fear about a lot of these things. Yes, there's still 9 of them out there, but we don't know what's happened in the last 40 years. Did somebody dig these things up and find them and not know what they were? And just took them home and said, hey, out digging around one day and I found that. So it's. I still think it's fun though to go through the research. Learned a lot about San Francisco. I've never been there. Now I would like to go and see the Fisherman's Wharf area. I would like to see these areas. I would like to take the book and do the solve and walk this trail, because from the start point of where our Stonewall gate is, or Stonewall door, to where I think the cask was, is about a mile. I think it's the location. Some other stuff that I found out in the meantime, the author was dating his wife at the same time that he was writing this book, doing this research, getting all this stuff together. His wife used to work in San Francisco when they were dating. So that also helps seal it in my mind that San Francisco is the city that we need to be looking at. I want to thank everybody for indulging me with these. I want to thank Clarissa for indulging me with this. She's my number one girl behind the camera. So if you like this, you want more of this, give us a thumbs up. Of course, subscribe to the channel. This is going to bring in some different people, I think, just outside of the Thriving Thrifter stuff. We're doing something outside. I'm going to do some other videos on some other wild stuff, things that interest me. LED holiday lighting. I'm going to do security cameras, all this kind of stuff that I do that interests me, that people probably look on the internet and wonder how to do it and don't know. So I'm going to share some of that content as well. And if people are interested in it, let me know, and we can produce that content. So again, thank everybody for the clues, for the participation in it, for the noticing of all the little tips that you saw, things that you saw in the painting. I think it takes a village. It really takes a village in all things. And different perspectives provide different clues and point me in different directions. And it really has opened my eyes and made me look at a different way and made me think about this differently. So thank you all. I hope you enjoy this, and I think that's all for the evening. So peace.